Mangala Charan, doing a beinti to Guru Sahib Ji, and then we'll get started, yeah? So, everyone please join in. Ek oankar satnam karta purkh nirbhau nirvair akal moorat ajuni sapang gur prasad jap आद सच जुगाद सच है भी सच नानक होसी भी सच एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निरभौ निर्वैर अकाल मूरत अजूनी सैभं गुर प्रसाद जप आद सच जुगाद सच है भी सच नानक होसी भी सच एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निरभौ निर्वैर अकाल मूरत अजूनी सैभं गुर प्रसाद जप आद सच जुगाद सच है भी सच नानक होसी भी सच एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निरभौ निर्वैर अकाल मूरत अजूनी सैभं गुर प्रसाद जप आद सच जुगाद सच है भी सच नानक होसी भी सच एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निरभौ निर्वैर अकाल मूरत अजूनी सैभं गुर प्रसाद जप आद सच जुगाद सच है भी सच नानक होसी भी सच दंडौत बंदन अनकबार सर्ब कला समरथ डोलन ते राखो प्रभु नानक दे कर हथ कहाँ बोध प्रभ तुच्छ मारी भरन सकै महिमा जो तिहारी हम ना सख्त कर सिफत तुम्हारी आप लिहो तुम कथा सुधारी हम ना सख्त कर सिफत तुम्हारी आप लिहो तुम कथा सुधारी संगत जी गज के फतेह बुलाओ वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह. So thank you for having me back for the Thursday talks. You guys have been going through Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj's incredible itihas, the history of their shahidi. So this part of our itihas is so vast, it's so big that you can't capture it within like an hour or so, within one talk, right? That's why it's been going over the past couple of weeks. On last Friday, Friday Night Sikhi in Leicester, we had Abaji doing a talk, and he mentioned something which was interesting. He goes, this part of the itihas is so big, like on a yearly basis, we might cover it, you might hear it in the Gurdwara, you might hear it in talks here and there, but because it's the 350th year, it's been big, right? But the Abaji mentioned that this part of the history is so big that you can, if you just had it from, say, just from Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj's point of view, that could be a couple of hours. If you had it from just the Kashmiri Pandit's point of view, and I've been lucky enough that in a couple of years ago, I remember hearing Katha of their journey, the Kashmiri Pandits. This was many, many years ago, but it kind of detailed of when they first got the ultimatum that, you know, convert or face death. And then when their journey started, of when they went to various different places, they did different puja, they did all these different kind of havan, they did all these different kind of things they could do to try and get out of the situation they were in. And then ultimately, as you guys have learned, the only person, the only place that they could turn for help was our Guru Sahib Ji, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj, right? And that goes to show the power of our Guru. Even like their Devi Devte couldn't help at that point, right? And that also goes to show how powerful Aurangzeb really is, right? If their Devi Devte couldn't actually help them, they didn't have that much power. Imagine the Kamai that Aurangzeb previously had. Because when anyone's in a point, if they've got power in their life, if they're a king, or if they're in a position of power, they've done some sort of Kamai to get to that point, whether it's their previous life, and how they handle that, how they use that power, depends on obviously their karma. It could go the wrong way or good way, right? So, for example, Raja Janak hoya from our history, from Itihas, Raja Janak's been mentioned in Gurbani, but he was such a just king. He had a lot of kamai from his previous life, but when he was a Raja, he was a really just Raja, a lot of bhakti. But then you get some kings that abuse that power, like Aurangzeb, but he would have had so much kamai from his previous life in order for the Devi Devta to be scared of him as well, right? But the only person that could help was our Guru, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj. So from the Kashmiri Pandit's point of view, you could almost do this talk from the view of Bhai Mati Das Ji or Bhai Dayala Ji, the Gursikhs that accompanied Guru Sahib Ji. You could do a talk just from the point of view from the Sangat, right? Or you could or even do a talk from the executioner's point of view. So the executioner that whose job was to behead Kirtan Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj. But it's so big in that way that it's had to, be over a couple of weeks to do this. And as you guys have been going through the Itihas, by Man Singh has been covering the actual Shahidi, and he's been smashing it as always. And I've been lucky enough to do the journey from Delhi back to Anandpur Sahib. And this part of the Itihas, I'll be honest with everyone, was a bit hard to do research on because it's not covered in certain grants like Suraj Prakash. So as I've been doing research, I've found loads of different things I did not know about either. So in terms of like doing these sort of talks, having these opportunities, I'm really grateful because it's not only that all the Sangat get to know, I'm in the same boat as well. I learn as well at the same time. Because at the end you always say, Mafi, if we made any mistakes, I'm learning like everyone else. I genuinely mean that, right? But the journey of courage, and it truly is courage, what Bhai Jetaji did, right? So it's by Jetaji with a tatta. Yeah, by Jetaji is Guru, is the whole Itihas by Guru Ramdas Ji Maharaj, right? But by Jetaji, that later on goes and becomes by Jeevan Singh Ji. So we're going to going through this talk, you're going to learn about two different things. The first main thing is the journey back to Anandpur Sahib, what happened in between there after Maharaj Shahidi, and we're also going to learn a little bit about Bhai Jetaji's life, how their connection has been from day one as well, in the house of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj as well. So you're going to learn how their life changes and how much of a special Gursikh they actually really were. Yeah, because again, from even over the years of listening to Guru Tegh Bahadur Maharaj Shahidi, quite often all you hear is that Bhai Jetaji picked up the cease, or the cease came to Bhai Jetaji, Guru Tegh Bahadur Maharaj, and then they made their way to Anandpur Sahib. But what actually happens in between all that, we never really get to hear about that, right, Hannah? We'll start just in one moment. The other thing I just wanted to quickly share with everyone was that it got me thinking while doing this talk, that, Sikhi covers absolutely everything. And for everyone in this room as well, people will connect in different ways. It depends what your interest is in. For example, if maybe the younger members of the Sangat, or maybe the lads, will resonate more towards jang, battles, right? Having, warfare, all that kind of stuff. They might resonate with that more. And Sikhi covers that, right? There might be some Sangat members that resonate with Bhagati. And we've got so many Sakhiyan that cover that. We've got so many Sakhiyan that cover doing Bhagati, doing meditation, right? If you're interested in Santa Mahapurukhs, loads of Sakhiyan that do that. If you're interested in, say, I'm coming right down to little details now. If you resonate and you've got connection with, say, humanity, you like to serve mankind, you've got Sakhiyan that cover that. For example, the biggest one, famous one, Bhai Kanhaiya Ji, right? If you've got an interest or connection with animals, there's Sakhiyan that cover that as well, where Guru Harai Ji Maharaj promoted looking after animals, environment, right? And it got me thinking that if you resonate or you relate to, so hands up here, who are interested or who've got like a hobby or whatever they do on there, who's into running? Anyone here that is into running? You do on a daily basis, do you? You go running, brilliant. Anyone else? So do you do long? Okay, good. Yeah? No? No, is it? I'm not sure. He doesn't go running.
He said running, not running late.
Okay. But anyway, Paji there goes running. Do you go on a daily basis, Paj?
Try to.
Okay. Is it long distance?
About 5k. So
5k, okay. So this part of the Tehas will cover that as well. So we've got not just one Sakhi, we've got a few Sakhiyan that cover long distance running. Right? Because Bhai Jetaji got their hukam that was given to them was that when you get the cease, you're going to run non-stop until you get out of Delhi. And whoever's been to Delhi will know it's not small, like Delhi is big. And mere arga banda tha, if I were to run for 2 or 3 minutes straight, bas ho jandi hai because I've not done that, I've got that training. But the other one was Noora Mahi, right? Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, when they get the news that Sahibzade became Shaheed. Bhai Noora Mahi was the one who ran all the way to Fatehgarh Sahib, Sarhand, and came back. And there's a few Sakhiyan of long distance runners in that way as well, right? But there's something there for everyone. Sikhi covers it all, right? Bibiyan Lalo, if they cover that whole, powerful Bibiyan Etihas. Kids as well. If you're looking to get inspired by young, we've got it all covered, right? Sikhi is so beautiful like that. Our Etihas is absolutely amazing. So let's go through our amazing Etihas and see what you're going to learn today as well. And remember, I always like to start with this as well, that when you're listening to these talks, don't just come here to listen, try and implement it into your lives. Try and progress in your lives spiritually, Sikhi. Yeah, try and progress in your Sikhi. Don't just listen to these brilliant talks and then just go home. Yeah, otherwise, I'm not going to say there's no faida. There is always a faida of coming, because you never know that one day one of these talks might help you further down in life. But try your absolute to implement it into your lives. Theek hai ji? So, the journey starts right from Tan Guru Tegh Bahadur Maharaj's bachan. When it got all set, that Guru Sahib Ji said that I'm going to give you my Shahidi now, there is no other way, because Guru Sikhs did try and say to Maharaj, Ki Maharaj, there must be a different way, let's try and come out with a different way. Other people from other different faiths also said to Maharaj, let's try and do it. The ultimatums that were given to Maharaj as well. But Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj said that time has come to give Shahidi now. We're going to have to do it in order to destroy this tyranny. And in the similar way, Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj as well, our 5th Parchar, Shaheedin the Sirtaj, the king of Shaheeds, they said the same thing as well. We have to give our Shahidi in order to end this tyranny. And then, in the previous talks, I've mentioned that the beauty of Sikhi is this, that our Guru has promised, our Guru Sahib Ji have promised their Gursikhs that if you walk on this path, I will give you my qualities. And you only get that in Sikhi. You don't get that in any other faith, where you become like the actual leader, right? Our Guru has said that if you follow this path, you follow my path, you follow me, I will give you all of my qualities. So the qualities that Guru Sahib Ji have got, they've given it to their Gursikhs as well. They've given it to their Gursikhs, such as Bhai Taru Singh Ji. So that just came to my mind right now, that when Bhai Taru Singh Ji gave their Shahidi, loads of Gursikhs tried to convince him, Na Bhai Sahib Ji, na karo, don't give your Shahidi. And then Bhai Taru Singh Ji said, nah, time has come to give Shahidi to end this tyranny. And it was only after their Shahidi that it ended all, that rule what Wazir Khan had. But in a similar way, Guru Sahib Ji said, and the Gursikhs get upset, Bhai Jeta Ji are there as well. There's a few different sources that say Bhai Jeta Ji's father was there as well. But because they were upset, Guru Tegh Bahadur Maharaj said to Bhai Jeta Ji that your task, when the time comes to give Shahidi, my head will fall into your lap. And then your job is to go back to Anandpur Sahib with it. That's your mission. Now, I was umming and ahhing about this part, whether I should share it or not. But whenever we do, at the beginning, Ardas to Maharaj, when we do Mool Mantra and do Mangalacharan, one of the reasons why we do it, guys, is that Maharaj guides this talk themselves. Right? So, I was thinking, shall I share it, shall I not? But then I thought it's too beautiful not to share. And again, this comes down to your connection with Guru Sahib Ji. Everyone's got their individual connections, however you resonate, however you connect with your Guru, right? But some sources, there's one source there's a Granth called Sri Guru Katha, and it's an eyewitness account from Bhai Jeta Ji. Bhai Jeta Ji have written it. And Bhai Jeta Ji write, there's one source where they say that their father, so at this point, I think it's only fair to just talk about the connection that Bhai Jeta Ji have got in Sikhi, right? So I'm not sure here if anyone knows, but Bhai Jeta Ji's lineage, Bhai Jeta Ji, their father and their great-grandfather were a Gursikh of Tan Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. Yeah, Bhai Kalyan Ji was their great-grandfather's name. And they had that, they were the Gursikh of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. So from there you can start understanding how that connection has been made. And then their father, Bhai Sadanand Ji, were really, really close with Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj. To a point where when Bhai Jeta Ji were born, it was Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj that kept the name of Bhai Jeta Ji. Right? So look at that connection. And that got me thinking while I was doing this research, that look at that connection. And I just want you to think about this for one moment, that whoever's got a really strong connection with Sikhi in this room, there's a very good chance that your lineage, your ancestors, imagine one of your ancestors spent time with one of the Guru Sahib Jis. There's a very good chance that's happened. Right? There's a very good chance that's happened, that one of your ancestors has spent time with one of the Guru Sahib Jis. Whether whether they've spent a lot of time with them or whether it was just a couple of moments. But that's why you've got Sikhi in you, because of that connection. But Bhai Jeta Ji were very close. Their family was very close with Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj. And one of the sources say, so this is Bhai Jeta Ji's writings, that when the time came to give their Shahidi, Bhai Sadanand Ji, their father, and Bhai Jeta Ji have a discussion before the Shahidi, and they say that when the Shahidi takes place, what's going to happen is, because Aurangzeb had said that after you take the head off, I want you to cut the body into 4 pieces and hang them up into the 4 sides of Delhi, so no one ever challenges our Hukumat ever again. Gursikhs that heard this couldn't take that beadabi of their Guru. Bhai Jeta Ji and their father are discussing this, that how can we avoid this happening? How can we avoid the beadabi of our Guru happening? Bhai Jeta Ji then said to their father, Pitaji, let me do this. When they take the head off of Guru Sahib Ji, then why don't you take my head off so we can replace it, so we can replace the bodies, so no one will know. Look at the pyar that Bhai Jeta Ji got. And then Bhai Sadanand Ji said, Putt, you're young yet. I'm old, edda karo, you do take my head off instead and swap it. Because my janam safal ho juga fir. Look at the mentality, right? But that's one source as well. Another source is what you might have heard over the past couple of weeks by Man Singh as well, that then a tufan came, a storm comes when the beheading takes place. Remember, I know I keep referring to the Maharaj's head getting taken off, but it's not they didn't take it off. No one in this world, no one's got no power in this world where they can do that to Maharaj, where they can make Maharaj Shaheed. Maharaj chose to become Shaheed themselves. Firstly, let's just get that clear. Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj as well, it wasn't them, it wasn't Jahangir, it wasn't Chandu that did it to Maharaj, it was Maharaj chose it. Otherwise Maharaj could have click of a finger, destroyed everything and put a stop to it. Easily could have done that. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj as well, they could have. But they chose to give their Shahidi. But anyway, when the beheading takes place, a storm comes, and then, ikdam, a sandstorm comes, so no one can see anything. Loads of people run away from there, so there's a big crowd, loads of commotion takes place, and then Guru Tegh Bahadur Maharaj comes into the choli of Bhai Jeta Ji. And that's the signal, that's the sign that now you have to leave. You have to leave from here and make your way back to Anandpur Sahib. So, obviously, you would have had to be really brave to do that, because there was heavy patrol, there was heavy guard, there was loads of guards around where that took place. They didn't want no one to come near the body. one of the things that was said, Aurangzeb said, that if any Sikh in Delhi tries to help, and from the source, from the research I did, there were 1,400 Sikh at that point in Delhi. If any Sikh comes forward to help, not only you, but your whole family is going to get beheaded. So no one actually dared to come forward. So Bhai Jeta ji had that they had that courage, and they did it. But one thing also to understand here, Sangat ji, is this, that unhone pehlan ardas kiti Maharaj nu, aap de bal naal nahi kuch kita. They didn't say that I'm going to do this, I've got enough strength to do this, I'm brave. They said, Maharaj tusi kirpa karni hai, phir ye hoga. Maharaj, you do kirpa, phir ye karj hoga pura. So again, from the research I did, Bhai Jeta ji had 5 cloths ready. And one of the reasons of having 5 cloths was because when the blood would come out, so the blood doesn't go through all of the cloths. That's their thinking, it's that level, so it doesn't go through all the cloths, so people know what they're carrying because they have to hide it. So they get a cloth and they cover Maharaj, Pavitra Mukh, Pavitra Sees, as quick as they can, and then after getting Maharaj Sees, they challe palan they go. Now, Bhai Jeta ji knew the path, they knew the ways from Anandpur Sahib to Delhi, because they would do it on a regular basis. The reason why was because Bhai Jeta ji's Taya ji, Bhai Ajay Mal ji, they were the worker of Bhai Lakhi Shah Vanjara. So you lot learned Bhai Lakhi Shah Vanjara was the Gursikh that did the saskar of Maharaj's body. So Bhai Jeta ji's Taya worked for Bhai Lakhi Shah Vanjara. So they lived in Delhi. So auna jana hamesha rehanda si Delhi nu. So they would have known the paths to take, albeit obviously there aren't roads like nowadays, there would have been jungles. There would have been kache raah hunde sige. But then they would have known where Gursikh's houses were on the way as well. They would have known all that. Yeah? So Bhai Jeta ji leave, and then it starts. The journey back to Anandpur Sahib starts. And now this part of the talk is where we're going to go into a little bit more detail of what happened, who Maharaj met, who Bhai Jeta ji met. As you can see, the main places where they left, Delhi, Bagpat, Ambala, through what's known now as Chandigarh, Mohali, going through there, reaching Kirtpur Sahib. And then finally, Anandpur Sahib. But the journey that they made alone was all the way to Kirtpur Sahib. And Bhai Jeta ji obviously travelled by foot, avoiding all the highways, the main paths, taking all the kache raah, going through jungles because there were Mughal patrols everywhere. Can you imagine Aurangzeb ne pura jor lata to get Maharaj to convert, to get Bhai Gursikhs to convert? Nothing works. And now they're holding on to this last little bit of hope that we're going to cut their body into 4 pieces and put their body in all four corners. But even yet, that gets taken away from them as well. And then you guys learned that by Aurangzeb then loses his mind, right? Oh to baad cho pagal ho janda hai. He starts going through depression, anxiety. He can't sleep at night. His mental health just starts deteriorating after that. Yeah. So imagine all that the body's gone, the cease is gone. We don't know what's happened, and it wasn't even my kirpan that took off Guru Sahib Ji's cease. The executioner is saying that to Aurangzeb, that it wasn't my kirpan that took off the Maharaj's cease. I can't believe it. He's just sitting there thinking, "Aki ho gaya, what's happened?" And now heavy patrol all over Delhi, especially. And now Bhai Jeta ji is having to get out of Delhi in that way. Now Bhai Jeta ji constantly, as he's going through, making his way, the one thing that keeping them going is Simran and Bani and doing ardas to Maharaj. Look at this, yeah. At this point, you probably might even think that Guru Sahib Tasheed ho gaye hun, they've left this world now. Now, you might even start thinking that, shall I start doing ardas to Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj? Who do I do? But Bhai Jeta ji saying to Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj still, ki Maharaj sadi laaj rakh leo. Maharaj meri laaj rakh leo. I've got a really big task right on hand. to take your seats back to Anandpur Sahib, taking back to the family, Maharaj meri laaj rakh liyo. Constantly doing that ardas to Guru Sahib Ji. Never saying that I'm going to do this. Jab apne gur se khoya itihas jo, that hankar isn't there. But that's why they're able to do these massive tasks that they've done. The thing with us, we start falling into that hankar trap. That I'm doing this talk, I've done the research, I'm telling all the sangat, right? But they're constantly doing the ardas. So the mileage is correct, kind of, 186 miles from Delhi to Anandpur Sahib. But the 3 weeks to 2 months, I put this in AI. I'm going to be honest. I put in AI, how long would it take to walk from Delhi to Anandpur Sahib through jungles, through rough terrain, with heavy patrol, heavy guards everywhere. And then AI kind of started calculating it all and said it would take roughly about 3 weeks to 2 months, because you would have to kind of go under the cover of darkness, you'd have to go quietly, you'd cover this much distance, or you start breaking it all down. But then in Qatar, I just heard today that it took 7 days for them to get back to Anandpur Sahib, because from the dates of their Shahidi and their Saskar happening, it was 7 days. Yeah? So by Jetta Ji, go. So as by Jetta Ji, I get that command, Bachan from Maharaj, without looking back, just run. Just keep on running until you get out of Delhi. As they get out of Delhi, this is where Maharaj, it's absolutely amazing. As I was going through doing the Sakhya, and I've heard of Sakhya in the past as well, कि महाराज बहुत ज़्यादा परोपकार करते हैं संगत दे, that they've got so much daya for their sangat that they fulfill your wishes and your desires even after they gave Shahidi. Yeah? So you'll learn that in a moment. So as Bhai Jetta Ji make their way, they get out of Delhi. Now this story that I heard a while back is from another talk. This was a couple of years ago. It's by Kuljit Singh Ji that did it. That they had heavy checkpoints on the outskirts of Delhi. As you can use your imagination, that whoever wanted to leave Delhi out at that point, everyone was getting checked. So what Bhai Jetta Ji does, when they get to this one checkpoint, they've got the cease and they're not letting go. And then at this checkpoint, there's carts that are going through the checkpoint. And they notice there's 3 carts that need to get through this checkpoint. And then what Bhai Jetta Ji does, they do an ardas to Maharaj, and then they place Guru Sahib Ji's cease in the 3rd cart. They thought to themselves, ki Maharaj Ji hunno laaj rakhange, Maharaj will just do their kautak, whatever Maharaj wants to do. They hide it in the 3rd cart, and then as the first 2 carts get through, the 3rd cart's going through, and they're just doing Simran, that constantly just thinking about Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj. They go through as well. And then when they go to get Maharaj cease from the 3rd cart, they can't find it. They can't find the cease, and then they panic a little bit, and then they look at the other carts, and then they find Maharaj cease in the 1st cart. So it was almost that the 1st cart got through, and then Maharaj would have almost like using their cart to doing their powers, they made it go to the 1st cart, and then the second 2 carts got through without checking. Ek story bhi aayi hai. So that's getting out of Delhi. So now Bhai Jetta Ji out of Delhi, and then the first person that they come across, a Shardalu is someone who's got love for the Guru, for Guru Sahib Ji. And his name is Sheikh Vauddin. So he's a Muslim Sheikh who follows the Sufi mat. And he's got a lot of pyar, sharda for Guru Sahib Ji. And he's heard the greatness of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj. So as Bhai Jetta Ji are making their way, they come across his dera, his place. And Sheikh Vauddin meets Bhai Jetta Ji and says, Gursikha, where are you coming from? He goes, I'm coming from Delhi. And he goes, that there's so much patrol, so much has happened. I've heard that this has happened. What are you doing here? He goes, I've heard that Edan ho gaya, Guru Sahib Ji nu shaheed karta. I've heard this. And as he's saying all that, Bhai Jetta Ji then reveal, and they say that I've got Maharaj cease with me, and my mission now is to go back to Anandpur Sahib. By now, because they've been running constantly, they need to rest. Sheikh Wauddin then says, look, do rest kar, I'll stay on God. So look at that Sharda that they have got for Guru Sahib Ji as well. And then in that village lived another Shardalu named Krishan Pal Ji. And he took it upon himself to feed Bhai Jetta Ji that night. So Bhai Jetta Ji get fed, and then they rest that night. And then Bhai Krishan Pal Ji and Bhai Sheikh Wauddin together stay on God to look after Maharaj Sis. And they put it on a high place with a rumal, with a chadar underneath, and with respect. And they even do chore over Maharaj Sis at that point as well. The morning comes, and then Bhai Jetta Ji leave again. And then as they're making their way, they come across, so they know about this one Gursikh called Bhai Deva Ram Ji, who's a Dubbi. So he's like a cloth maker. And he's very poor. But as he's making his way, he comes across Bhai Deva Ram Ji. Bhai Deva Ram Ji kind of noticed him coming, and they're doing Simran, they're reading Part out loud. And then he overhears it, and he straight away knows that ek Guru da Sikh hai. So he calls out, he goes, who, Bhai Sahib Ji, who are you? And he goes, I'm Guru Tegh Bahadur Maharaj Sikh. And he goes, main bhi Guru Tegh Bahadur Maharaj Sikh, and he got happy. Khush ho gaya. He goes, Guru da Sikh aaya, and now I've got an opportunity to serve Guru Sikh. So then he goes, look, let me serve, let me feed you. And initially Bhai Jetta Ji said, I need to go, so no. And then he kind of insisted, he goes, please let me serve you. You're the Sikh of the Guru, let me serve you. And then he agrees. And then Bhai Jetta Ji doesn't let go of Maharaj Sis, keeps it to their chest as close as they can. And then Bhai Deva Ram Ji then say that, whatever saman you've got, itthe rakh do. And then Bhai Jetta Ji goes, no, I can't put this down. And he goes, chal theek hai. And then Bhai Deva Ram Ji goes, ki tu Guru da Sikh haan, you must have spent time with Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj. Sanu dasso ki Maharaj da haal kiya. Tell us what Maharaj da haal kiya. How is Guru Sahib Ji? And then at that point, Bhai Jetta Ji gets tears in their eyes. Bhai Jetta Ji starts crying. And then Bhai Deva Ram Ji go, you know, it's always been my ichha, my desire to do darshan of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj. I've just heard the greatness of Guru Sahib Ji. It's always been my desire to get their darshan. I wonder if that will happen one day. And Bhai Jetta Ji can't control it at that point then. They're getting really emotional. And they say that, Dekh Gursikha, Maharaj tere kar aap hi aage. Maharaj have come themselves to your house. How lucky are you? And then Bhai Deva Ram Ji still don't understand. And then they go, get a manja. Got a manja, put a chadar out, and then they put that there, and unhone kaha, darshan Guru Sahib Ji tere aap hi ithe karna aage, aa le darshan kar la. And then they took off the cloth, and that's when he saw Guru Tegh Bahadur Maharaj Sis. Bhai Deva Ram Ji then did an ardas to Maharaj, and they couldn't help it, and they start crying. And Bhai Deva Ram Ji then say ki Maharaj darshan aap ji ne edda hi dene si sanu, par Maharaj tusi kinna paropkar karde sade te, that you still, after you've given your shaheed, you're still fulfilling our desires. You're still ichha aji vi tusi puri karde hain sadi. How amazing are Guru Sahib Ji, right? And the reason why we should listen to our itihas, Sangat Ji, is for reasons for this, is that we start thinking or even feeling that Guru Sahib Ji bahut dur ne sato. But the truth is, and I need everyone to understand this, and I need a reminder for myself as well. The truth is ki Guru Sahib Ji dur nahi, nede ya, bilkul nede ya thode. Guru Sahib Ji always with you. But you just need that sharda, that prem, that ardas, that trust in Guru Sahib Ji, the same as Bhai Deva Ram Ji had in Guru Sahib Ji as well. So whatever desire you have, whatever ichha you have, Sangat Ji, Maharaj always fulfill it. Maharaj will always fulfill that desire. But you need to have that bharosa ki Maharaj haan, and you need to have that kind of that faith, that unshakable, unwavering faith. And I feel like, maybe I'm saying it because I feel this way. So you start, you know how there's a saying like, if you feel a certain way, you start seeing other people like that as well. And that's wrong, because I know here loads of people would be, their sharda would be like proper wicked. It'd be brilliant, it'd be solid. But kyunki kayi baar main dol janda ya, then I start seeing other people like that as well. but I need a reminder and a constant reminder that, you know, Guru Sahib ji tere naal hi hai, Maharaj on for whatever desire you have, Maharaj will fulfill that. Anyway, Bhai Deva Ram ji, that whole night, they said to Bhai Jetta ji again, they said, tu rest kar, you rest, I'll stay on God and I'll look after Maharaj Sis, because you've got a big journey ahead of you. So let me do this seva. And then Bhai Jetta ji rest in that same room. Pehla ta tola ke beh jande hai. So, because how can you sleep in that situation? So Bhai Jetta ji first just lie with their back against the wall, they just try and go to sleep like that. And then they put their head towards Guru Sahib Ji's Sis. Not their feet towards Guru Sahib Ji's Sis, they put their head towards Guru Sahib Ji's Sis. And then they go sleep that way for that night. And then Bhai Deva Ram ji, that entire night. And another one was something I heard about was that Bhai Deva Ram ji, because they always had that desire to do darshan of Guru Sahib ji, because they were cloth maker, they had sewed a beautiful kambal for Maharaj once. And they go, just whatever day I meet Maharaj, I'm going to gift this to Maharaj. And look at the way he's gifting it to Maharaj. So now they changed the clothes and it was this kambal that they wrapped Maharaj Sis in. Then Bhai Jetta ji leave Bhai Deva Ram ji's place. And then as they make their way, then they come across another, and they get near to Ambala now. This was near Bagpat what happened. Then they make their way and they get near to Ambala. Ambale kol jadon pahunchde a, othe fir ek hor sheikh a. There's another sheikh there called Tuluk Shah Fakir near Ambala. And this was a fakir that everyone respected, no matter what background, Hindu, Sikh, Musliman. He had a lot of pyar. Again, he followed the Sufi mat. And this sheikh had a lot of sharda for Guru Sahib ji as well. And he again asked Bhai Jetta ji, ki tera ki hala? He goes, inna utthe kuch ho chukka hai. And then Bhai Jetta ji explained everything to the sheikh, the fakir. And then utthe bhi unhe darshan karaye. And there's Gurdwara, there's actual itihasic places there now. There's Gurdwara in these places. Because when you reference something, one of the important things is either from a Granth, eyewitness accounts, or then there's historical places that actually cover these places, right? So, Tuluk Shah Fakir had got darshan of Maharaj as well. And then they leave this place, Ambala, and now they're getting close to near Chandigarh, Mohali. They're getting close to there. And Otte ek Gursikh rehanda ya by the name of Bhai Ramdev ji. The first one was Bhai Deva Ram ji, this one's Bhai Ramdev ji. Yeah? And ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ story ਸੀਗੀ that they were very poor, they lived in like a hut, ਗੁਜ਼ਾਰਾ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਿਰਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ, whatever kirt they used to do. And ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਿਆ ਕਿ ਭਾਈ ਜੈਤਾ ਜੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਦਾ ਸਿੱਖ ਆਇਆ ਹੈ, again, this is something, a teaching from this is one thing I've learned, like the Pratan Gursikhs, the amount of love they used to have for one another. I suppose it's not fair to say that we've come away from that as well, but I suppose it's just a day and age that we live in. I feel like sometimes that pyar nahi hega hun, that when a Gursikh meets another Gursikh, or when a Singh sees another Singh. I think I mentioned it here before as well, my own experience, when I've seen Singhs outside of normal Gurdwara settings, when you've seen him outside and then just move here and there, they just look the other way because they don't want to say hello, which is really sad, right? So here I urge everyone, if you ever come across that situation, say hello to one another, just has ke bula lo ek dooje nu, right? Gursikhs used to do that back in the days. Bhai Deva Ram ji, Bhai Ramdev ji, Bhai Ramdev ji, then you got happy, they go Gursikha aaya ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰੀਏ, ਐਂਡ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਵੀ ਇੱਛਾ ਇਹ ਸੀਗੀ, they had that same desire as well ਕਿ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਦੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਰੀਏ. Now just pause here for one moment, and here the thing I want to contemplate on is this, that imagine those Gursikhs back in the days that had this really strong desire to do darshan of their Guru Sahib ji, right? They've always had like a strong ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਦੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ. Compared to our lives, where we can do darshan of Guru Sahib Ji every day without any excuses, because they are just excuses at the end of the day. Like if you can't do darshan of your Guru Sahib Ji on a daily basis, there's some sort of an excuse that you're coming out with, right? I don't care what the excuse is, you should be able to do it. Especially if you live local, I mean, there's no excuse. There's a reason why ਰਹਿਤ ਮਰਿਆਦਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਕਿ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਰੋਜ਼ ਕਰਨੇ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ ਆ ਵੈਸੇ ਤਾਂ you should do it twice a day, morning and evening, but yes, living in these countries, busy lifestyles, whatever, but ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ ਤਾਂ once a day we can do it. So maybe this is one of the things that you can take away from today's talk, is that if you do it, brilliant, carry on doing it. If you don't do it on a daily basis, start implementing it into your lives, right? I promise to you, you'll get to a point that if you miss that one day, you're not going to be able to go sleep. But slowly, you're supposed to do it. Think of it like this, that you need to eat every day. Same way, you need to do darshan of your Guru Sahib Ji every day. You learnt recently from this, right, as well. Bhai Jeta Ji, Bhai Mati Das Ji, what was their last wish before they became Shaheed? Ki I just want to be looking at my Guru Sahib Ji when I become Shaheed. That was their last wish. Nahor kuch nahi siga. They didn't want to meet any family member, last meal, no dunyavi cheez. They go, all I want is just to be facing my Guru Sahib when I become Shaheed. So as that soul starts sawing them in half, they're looking directly at their Guru Sahib Ji. Because Sangat Ji, there's so much power in you getting darshan of your Guru. Just doing darshan of your Guru, thousands of sins from your previous janams wash away just like that. There's no better deal than that, is it? There's no better deal than that. All you have to do is come, get darshan of Dhan Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj on a daily basis. Thode paap to ho rahe. Your sins are getting washed away just by doing darshan of our perfect Guru. Inna di ichha vi yahi si Bhai Ramdev Ji di. They had that same desire ki Maharaj de darshan asi ek din karange. We've taken Sikhi for granted. That's what the truth is. I feel I definitely have. I've definitely taken itihas for granted, because only when these talks come about is when I start doing research and when I truly start contemplating on it, and I think we've taken Sikhi for granted where it's easy for us, and then because of that we think I'll miss today or whatever, right? Whereas these Gursikhs tarsde hunde sige ki Maharaj de darshan ek din karange, we'll do darshan of Maharaj. But eri achha vi sigi Bhai Ramdev Ji ki Maharaj karange darshan. ਉਹਨੇ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਭਾਈ ਜੈਤਾ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਕਿ ਭਾਈ ਜੈਤਾ ਜੀ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ ਮੈਂ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਕਰੂੰਗਾ ਗੁਰੂ ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਦੇ। ਐਂਡ ਭਾਈ ਜੈਤਾ ਜੀ ਫਿਰ ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਵੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਗੁਰਸਿੱਖਾ ਤੇਰੇ ਘਰ 'ਚ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਆਪ ਹੀ ਆ ਗਏ। ਐਂਡ ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਮੈਂ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਕਰਾਏ। ਐਂਡ ਦਾ ਹੋਲ ਨਾਈਟ ਦੈਨ ਭਾਈ ਰਾਮਦੇਵ ਜੀ then did and their wife as well did chore over Maharaj the whole night and keeping it safe. And then as Bhai Jeta Ji are getting near to Kirtpur Sahib, they come across a dera as such, if you want to call it that. It's a place where people go to learn how to maybe follow the Sufi way, Musliman. But ek fakir da naam si Dargahi Shah Fakir. Dargahi Shah Fakir, when he learnt about what happened, they needed a place to stay again for this night. So Bhai Jeta Ji said, can we stay here for one night? They explained everything that's happened, and they go, I need to get to Anandpur Sahib. And then Bhai Jeta Ji explained everything to Bhai Dargahi Shah Fakir Ji. And then they said, Hanji, you stay the night here, you rest, I'll stay on God. And then they say that I've always had, they were so old that they were over 100 years old. So because they were so old, they said to the very next day, after they stayed awake all night, they placed it on a high like manja, and they sat on the floor, and that whole night they were just staring at Maharaj's Pavitra Mukh. And when the morning came, they said, when Bhai Jeta Ji was about to leave, they did a benti to Bhai Jeta Ji, and they said, you're about to go to Anandpur Sahib, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕਰਿਓ ਮੇਰੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ to Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj ਕਿ I've always had a desire to do their darshan, but now I'm so old I can't get there. Maharaj, do a ਬੇਨਤੀ to Maharaj ਕਿ Maharaj ਸਾਡੇ ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ Maharaj ਸਾਨੂੰ darshan ਦੇ ਦੇਣ. And then later on in Itihas it comes that when Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj went to Paonta Sahib and they lived there a couple of years, when the first Pangani da Yuddh hoya, after they had won that battle, when they were going to make their way back to Paonta Sahib, they came to this fakir's dera. Up until then, the fakir didn't leave his swas, he didn't leave his body. And darshan utthe hoye Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj naal, and Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj expressed, and they gave them pyar because they gave that shelter to Bhai Jetta Ji for that night, and they looked then and they did chore over Maharaj ceased for that entire night. So Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj was really happy with Fakir Ji. And then they said to Fakir Ji, ki thodi ichha ki hai, ask for anything you want. And they said, I just want mukti. I just want to be liberated. And the only one that can give you that is your Guru, is Guru Sahib Ji. No one else can bless you with that. No one else has got the capability, ability, not even the Devi Devta have got that capability of blessing someone with liberation, to take you out of the cycle of life and death. There's a Sakhi in Guru Har Gobind Ji Maharaj's time, right, where this Gursikh mistakenly goes to Jahangir's tent because he sees a grand tent, he sees this massive tent, and then he walks in and he sees Jahangir sitting on this massive throne, and then he mistakes Jahangir for Guru Sahib Ji. And then he goes and puts money in front of Jahangir, and then he goes, Sache Parchar, Mukti Baksho Sanu. And Jahangir goes, look, I can give you anything else you want in this world. You want to be the Malik of so many villages, you got it. You want so much money, you got it. I can give you anything, because he got a little bit annoyed at that point that I can't give him this one thing. I can give you anything else you want. And then he goes, no, but I want Mukti. And then he goes, you've come to the wrong tent then. And he goes that you need to go to Guru Har Gobind Ji Maharaj. Even he knew. Picked up his money and then went to Guru Har Gobind Ji Maharaj. And then Otte Benti Kiti. And then Maharaj blessed him. But Dargahi Shah Fakir Ji did that same Benti Kiti, Mukti Sanu Baksho. And then Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj blessed by Dargahi Shah Fakir. Onanu Mukti Maharaj ne deti sigi fir. Then that's when they left their sarir. That's when they left their body. So here it goes to show that no matter how much savas you have, that if them breaths are written that you're going to get them darshan of Maharaj, then you will, right? Otherwise, you aimini darshan mel de Maharaj de. That's one thing to always, again, we start to take it for granted, innit? Because we make it a daily routine or weekly routine. Go to the Gurdwara, Maharaj age matha teke, go and have prasad, langar, call it a day. I don't think we even realize sometimes that when you're placing your forehead in front of Guru Sahib Ji, that your karma, your past actions must have been absolutely amazing for you to even get that opportunity to place your head in front of Tan Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. Otherwise, edda udda nahi ho janda. So those Gursikhs that get darshan of Guru Sahib Ji on a daily basis, their karma must be amazing. We should always thank Maharaj ki Maharaj tusi ahad mauka bakshya. Maharaj, thank you, you gave us this opportunity to listen to this itihas. Maharaj, thank you that you got us up in the morning. Amrit Billah. Maharaj, shukra tusi sama bakshya ki simran karda. Be grateful to Maharaj. But itho then Bhai Jetta Ji make their way from here and they arrival at Kirtpur Sahib. Now for those that will know that Kirtpur Sahib is a place where Tan Guru Har Gobind Ji Maharaj and Tan Guru Har Rai Ji Maharaj, utthe ona da saskar hoya, at that place. And we all know that after we pass away as well, our ashes go to Kirtpur Sahib. So for those that might have their elders or whoever have gone, utthe jaake jal parwa kar diya, then they go and put it there, right? It's a powerful place, Kirtpur Sahib is, being established by Tan Guru Har Gobind Ji Maharaj themselves. That city was established by them. But if you ever get a opportunity to go to Punjab and you've not been, go there. And I'll give you a little secret tip, right? That if you know, you know. But where they usually put the ashes in the water is from a bridge or right next to that bridge, right? Hands up if you've been there and you've done ashes. Anyone done it? Good, okay. So a few people have put their hand up and gone. But yeah, usually over a bridge or near the bridge. But then I was with this uncle, this Gursikh, lives in Anandpur Sahib. So I think I've mentioned it before, but with Guru Sahib Kirpa now, I've been so blessed, lucky enough to live in Anandpur Sahib for about 7 months. After I graduated from uni, I lived there for about 7 months. So I went to Kirtpur Sahib a couple of times. So I know how far it is as well, which I'll mention in a minute. But with that Gursikh, what we did was, we walked, so where the river is, where you put the ashes in, where they do it, we started walking down like the side of the river, a little bit further down. And then we call him Uncle Ji, and then he rolled his kurta pajama up and just got into the water. And then he just stood in the water for a bit. And then I kind of copied him and then did the same thing. And then as I was just saying, it's really quiet and peaceful down there. It's really quiet. Maybe that's why he did it. But then I was just standing there like this, and then I looked into the river, and that's when I noticed like just bones. I noticed bones, little pieces of bones. I noticed curry, because the curry is not going to get burnt, is it? That just goes in there as well. I noticed kirpans. I noticed even like screws, and they would have been from like operations, hip joints and stuff. Those screws, because they don't get burnt either. Like even like metalwork and stuff like that. But it really got me thinking that really got me thinking that you're going to end up here one day. This is where you're going to end up one day. So what is it that you do? What is it that you're so attached to that you're going to end up like that one day? And more recently in Leicester, Gursikh passed away. It was kind of a hard hitter because he's so young. And when the funeral day came, and I saw the body in the coffin, and I said to Singh straight after that, I go, what we get attached to this body, but look what it ends up like. Why do we get so attached to these bodies, or family, or individuals, or loved ones, yourself? Why we look in the mirror for so long and get ready? I'm not dissing anyone that does that, but same kind. We get attached to this. I know I've gone a little bit off track, but Maharaj is guiding it, right? Whatever teaching Maharaj wants to give at this point, Maharaj is giving it. But Kirtpur Sahib is that special place where after Guru Har Gobind Ji Maharaj, then most of the Sikh world always will go there and do the Jal Parvah of the ashes. Yeah? So, at this point, what I wanted to do was something a little bit different. Now, there's a brilliant book here. I'm not sure if it's hard to get a hold of. The Life of Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj, the epitome of mercy, and is written by Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Academy. And the extensive research that they do when they write about any of the Guru Sahib Ji's Jeevaniya is amazing. Yeah, this book is a brilliant read. And although it didn't have the journey back to Anandpur Sahib, but then what they cover is when by Jeta Ji get to Kirtpur Sahib, and then what happens at that point from then on. So I thought it would be best to actually read it to the Sangat, because it's in a lot of detail. So I'm just going to read this part, and then we can move on to, it'll come to the end of the travel of from Delhi to Anandpur Sahib. So as Bhai Jeta Ji get to Kirtpur Sahib, and one of the reasons why Bhai Jeta Ji go there first and not Anandpur Sahib is because in their mind they think that Saskar Guru Har Gobind Ji Maharaj de the hoya siga, Guru Har Rai Ji Maharaj de the hoya siga. So we'll go there first. And then the other reason was as well, they couldn't face Guru Sahib Ji and the Matama. So Mata Gujar Kaur Ji, Guru Sahib Ji's wife, and Guru Sahib Ji's Mata Ji, Mata Nanki Ji. They couldn't face them. Because how can you, after traveling that long, saying that, the first thing you show to them is the decease of Guru Sahib Ji. So initially they couldn't face it. So they go to Kirtpur Sahib. And then Dhan Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj in Anandpur Sahib, no. Antarjami, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸੁਨੇਹਾ ਵੀ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਆ ਕਿ ਭਾਈ ਜੈਤਾ ਜੀ ਆ ਗਿਆ Kirtpur Sahib. Can you imagine what's going through Guru Sahib Ji's mind at that point? 9 years old, remember? 9 saal de, that your father has given Shahidi and now their cease has come back. Just their head has come back. What's going through Mata Gujari Ji's mind, their wife? What's going through their Mata Ji's mind and the Gursikh's mind at that point? What must be going through their mind? Then Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj find out, and then Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj order to get a palki made out of sandalwood. So this beautiful wood, get a palki made so we can bring Maharaj cease back. So they get a palki made and Sangat get ready to go to Kirtpur Sahib. Now, for those that have gone to Anandpur Sahib and Kirtpur Sahib, they must have obviously gone by car. I've gone on motorbike a couple of times. But it takes about 20 minutes in the car, about 25 minutes in the car. If I'm not mistaken, about max half an hour. And then walking it, I remember doing a Nagar Kirtan from Kirtpur Sahib to Anandpur Sahib. So walking it as well, you kind of know that distance. It took a couple of hours. But the Sangat get ready to go from Anandpur Sahib to Kirtpur Sahib. And then it's at this point, so I'm going to read the last part now because it's in a lot of detail. Yeah. So Tan Guru Tegh Bahadur Maharaj is about to reach Anandpur Sahib. Sri Guru Gobind Rai Ji went to Mata Nanaki Ji and Mata Gujri Ji and inquired on where shall the cremation of Guru Tegh Bahadur Maharaj cease take place. Listening to which, some Masans said, since the time of Guru Har Gobind Ji Maharaj, the last rites of all the Sodhis have taken place in Kirtpur Sahib. Now it is your wish and for you to contemplate on. Mata Gujri Ji did not agree with the Masans and said the other Sodhis did not develop their own town and that is why their cremation took place in Kirtpur Sahib. Guru Tegh Bahadur Maharaj left this world, Baba Bakala Ji, and left their abode, Baba Bakala, due to the jealousy of the Sodhis and to prevent any fight. And they developed a town at this beautiful place called Anandpur Sahib. They spent a lot of wealth in purchasing the land because they brought it themselves, and they spent a lot of time building it as well. Seeing it so blissful, they named it Anandpur, the city of bliss. And Sangat Anandpur Sahib is Vakei, true, it is the city of bliss. Like I said, I got a chance to stay there, and for me, everyone's got a different connection with Sikhi places. Hazur Sahib ho gaya, Harmandir Sahib, Darbar Sahib ho gaya. But for me as Anandpur Sahib, day and night, wherever you walk in Anandpur Sahib, it's blissful. It's such a blissful place. Bring Guru Sahib Ji cease here to do the saskar of it so that their Mata and I can have a glimpse of their beautiful mukh. Mata Gujri Ji could not speak any further as they were totally immersed in the love of their husband, their Pati Ji. Guru Gobind Rai Ji was pleased with Mata Ji's wish and they agreed. Everyone in Anandpur Sahib got ready to receive Guru Sahib Ji's cease, and both Mata Jis were told to stay at home. All the Sikhs left Anandpur Sahib to receive the cease with a beautiful plankin, a palki carried on shoulders and many other items. Along with Guru Gobind Rai Ji, all were reciting Gurbani and many had tears rolling down their cheeks as they walked towards Kirtpur Sahib. Upon reaching Kirtpur Sahib, all present there were engrossed in sadness. Guru Sahib Ji's cease was lifted from its place and placed on the palki, and everyone bowed their heads in respect. Sare ne namaskar kiti Maharaj di cease nu. A chaur was flying over Guru Sahib Ji's cease, and expensive silk was placed around Guru Sahib Ji's cease. Some Sikh were spraying rose water all over, and some were placing beautiful garlands of flowers onto the cease. There were different varieties of fragrance, and like this, the Sangat with Guru Gobind Rai Ji started their journey back to Anandpur Sahib. All along, Kirtan was being sung by the Sangat in different rags, with a rabab, maru rag, vidhans rag, and they were mixed and sung together with the addition of some other couplets. Sikhs donated a lot of wealth by throwing it in the air or onto the palki. So just pause there for 1 second. For any Western person, I say Western person, for anyone that doesn't follow Sikhi or hasn't got that understanding or that knowledge of what Shahidi is, itthon ek gal sikhn nu mildi a that Shahidi is celebrated in Sikhi. When we go through these Sakhiyas sometimes, when December's coming up, we're going to go through the Shahidi of the Sahibzade, of Mata Gujri Ji, the Battle of Chamkaur, the Singhs that became Shaheed, and then sometimes we start getting emotional. But Shahidi is celebrated in Sikhi. And ithe they're throwing money into the air. The gold flowers were arranged, and one would become very sad looking at the whole scenario. They were slowly travelling towards Anandpur Sahib. Many Sikhs and Masands had the palki surrounded. The sound of a sank was very loud. Some were cursing Aurangzeb. When the procession reaching Anandpur Sahib, all the city dwellers, old, young, youth and old, including Mata Gujari ji, left their home abode to have the glimpse of what was happening, the little Nagar Kirtan that was happening. Seeing the palki from a distance, now try and use your imagination here. Seeing the palki from a distance, Mata Gujari ji said to herself, ki your son is still young and Mata ji are old. Mata ji folded both their hands and they did namaskar, and their eyes were filled with tears. The palki was brought to the site where a sandalwood pear was. There, as Mata Nanki ji were approaching the palki, then she was reciting the name of her son, saying, Tan Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib ji. She then said, my son was the epitome of peace, and I wish to have a look at their mukh one last time. Listening to their grandmother's words, Guru Gobind Rai ji instructed the Sikhs to lower the palki down, and all the silk cloth was removed, and Guruji's beautiful face was visible. Mata Nanki ji touched the face of the Guru Sahib ji, their son, and they were crying, as any Mata ji would. Guru Sahib ji's face and forehead looked and felt alive. Both of their eyes were closed just like shrunken lotus leaves. Guru Sahib ji's hair and beard had a mix of black and white hair. All the Masands and Sikhs were curious to have a glimpse of Guru Sahib ji's cease. The Sangat had a glimpse of Guru Sahib ji's cease, and then it was covered with a cloth. The atmosphere was of separation, and everyone felt the thorn of separation and sadness. Mata Gujari ji then did an ardas to Guru Tegh Bahadur ji Maharaj. They folded both hands, and look at the ardas that they did. They said to their Pati ji, they said, hey Guru Sahib ji, ki thodi nibgi, sadi bhi nib jave ant tak. That your journey is completed. Maharaj, kirpa karo that my journey be completed right to the end as well. And look at what Mata Gujari ji's life was like then after that. What did they do? The qurbani that they gave. Not only they gave their shahidi, but they got the sebs that they tayar for shahidi as well. Right? And then so Guru Sahib ji's then cease was then placed on the pyre. The pyre was lit by Tan Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, and the flames from all four corners were lit. With full of love and devotion, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj did parikrama of their father's cease 3 times. And after doing all the necessary stuff, Guru Sahib Ji then went and did a Ishnan. Before they did their Ishnan, as the saskar was taking place of the cease, ne Gurdwara Ganj Sahib, now if you go to Anandpur Sahib, they decided to do the saskar of Guru Sahib Ji's cease in front of Pora Sahib. So if you go to Anandpur Sahib, if you go to Ganj Sahib, so you go past Kesgarh Sahib, and then you go into the shops, and then you go carry on right to the end, the Ote Ganj Sahib. If you go a little bit towards the left, before entering the complex of Ganj Sahib, there's a Gurdwara called Gurdwara Pora Sahib. And that was the first thing that Guru Tegh Bahadur Maharaj established in Anandpur Sahib city. The first thing they did was they got an underground room made, and Utte Maharaj ne Bhakti kiti utte. And if you go there to this day, you can feel the power there, the vibes. When you go in underground, it's so peaceful. Bahut shanti mildi hai. It's so easy to do Simran there. It's so easy to do Mool Mantra there. Because it's just naturally powerful like that, because Guru Sahib Ji did it. So if you ever get a chance, definitely go there, go into the underground, sit there for even a couple of minutes and do Simran. The Simran that you do there will be so much more effective and powerful than when we sometimes try to do it here. If you do it for 10, 15, 20 minutes, half an hour, because so many distractions. but ਉੱਥੇ decide ਕੀਤਾ ਕਰਨ ਨੂੰ, and right next to Damdama Sahib. So there's another Gurdwara right next to Seesganj Sahib called Damdama Sahib, and that was the actual place where the Kashmiri Pandits came and did a faryad, a benti to Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj. It's so right next to it. And Sangat Ji, if you go there now, there's a plank nail on the wall, a metal one, and what it says on there is that the Kashmiri Pandits came here and did ardas to Maharaj for what the situation that they were in. Then what happens is in 1999, the Kashmiri Pandits in Kashmir, from the Kashmiri Musliman there, the terrorists that wanted to convert everyone again in that area, they targeted the Kashmiri Pandits again one more time in 1999. And they know their history, they've got satkar for their history, and they've got satkar for the Guru Sahib Ji's house. They knew that all we have to do is go to Anandpur Sahib and utthe ja ke benti karde hain Guru Sahib Ji nu. So they again in 1999 came to Anandpur Sahib, ardas kiti Maharaj nu, they did a Khand Path for 3 days. After the 3rd day, they go back, and then them tyrants left them alone. They didn't say anything to them again, and they were able to live their life. ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਇਆ, ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੇ ਫੇਰ ਬਚਾਇਆ ਸੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ. They saved them again. Guru Sahib Ji then at that place, because it was from Damdama Sahib where Guru Sahib Ji would give ਐਲਾਨ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀ ਕੁਛ political ਗੱਲਾਂ, then Maharaj would do ਐਲਾਨ there. Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj at the tender age of 9, they stand upon a platform while the sanskar is happening of their father's cease, Guru Sahib Ji cease. They get up, and then that's when, this is a massive turning point for all of us. Throughout in our itihas, this is a massive turning point. They say that they call Bhai Jetta Ji forward. This amazing Gursikh, they call him forward, and first thing they do is they hug Bhai Jetta Ji. And they said, Bhai Jetta Ji, what you did today, only a son for their father would do that. So then they gave that bachan, Rangreta Guru ka beta. Darja deta, that their status, you are the Guru's son. And Maharaj treated Bhai Jetta Ji just like the Sahibs are there after that. They didn't differentiate with them. Pyar raj ke ditta Bhai Jetta Ji nu, even though they were supposedly from a low caste. But the satkar they got. And then Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj said that ਉੱਥੇ ਹੋਰ ਕੋਈ Sikh ਹੈ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀਗਾ. Bhai Jetta Ji go ਸੀਗੇ, ਪਰ ਅੱਧੇ ਡਰ ਗਏ, and you couldn't tell who was a Sikh, who wasn't at that point. And then that's when Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj did the bachan ki I will create such a Khalsa, such a Sikh, that even if he wants to hide, he can't hide. And now this is for the youngsters, for the kids here. Actually, not just for the kids, for all the adults here. That Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj did a bachan that my Gursikh will stand out from the crowd. Even if he wants to hide, he can't hide. I will give him my own roop. मैं आपदा रूप में उन्हें दे देना है. Sangat Ji, we speak of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj with such high respect, with amazing qualities that Maharaj have got. The greatest king, king of kings, the greatest jarnail, greatest warrior, the greatest poet, the greatest kirtani. Look at their life, right? We speak so highly of them, and then look how lucky we are that Maharaj is saying, I will make you look like me. What else do we want? Maharaj is saying, I will make you look like me. And this is, so I say to the kids that we were made to stand out. Don't think that we need to blend in with this world, because we're not supposed to. And this is for the adults as well, including me. We were born to stand out. So this might be for those Sangat Ji that might be scared to keep their gears, or they're worried about the way they look, or they're worried about what people will say. You're going to look like the King of Kings. You're going to look like your Guru. What do you have to be worried about? What do you have to be scared about? But Guru Sahib ne bachan us vele kita that I'll make my Sikh such a way that he'll be standing out from the crowd. And Maharaj ne dekho roop kidan de ditta fir, right? And then that was a massive turning point. in our itihas. And the reason why Bhai Jetta were able to complete this whole journey, because they didn't stop doing Simran and they didn't stop doing Gurbani. And that is another lesson to take away from this talk, Sangat Ji, is no matter how hard life gets, never stop doing Simran and never stop doing your part. No matter how hard life gets. Your mind will play tricks on you. Your mind will say, oh, what am I getting from doing part anyway? Your mind is playing tricks with you. Kaljog is playing tricks with you. But you don't cave. Even if you don't feel like doing it, you still do it. I've given this example before, right? How many times, this is right from little kids to adults. Little kids, you have to do your work. Even if you don't feel like doing it, you have to do it. Your schoolwork. If you don't feel like doing your work, you still do it. And what happens? You get the fall for it. Adults, if you don't feel like going to work, you still go to work. And what happens? You still get the fall for it. You still get paid end of the day. If you don't feel like doing Simran part, Sangat Ji, you carry on, and one day you'll get such a fall where you'll get that pure anand, that pure bliss, and then you're not going to want to stop. You're going to want to carry on. I promise you that. You're going to want to carry on. Gursikhs have told me, they've said that, I've experienced just even an ounce of that bliss that you get from doing Simran, and I can't even explain how that felt, even if it was for a couple of seconds. And then they try and chase that by doing more Simran, right? So let's never forget that they were only able to complete that journey because they had that faith in Maharaj and they never stopped doing Simran. Rangrete Guru ke bete, then Maharaj ne darja ditta to Bhai Jetta Ji. This is Gurdwara Sisganj Sahib in Anandpur Sahib right now. So utthe jod bhi jaonge to Sangat Ji, always do darshan. Maharaj, and get this, what from the research I did, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, from that day on, always made sure that a light, jot, was always lit in the memory of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj. And you know where the last place was when they left Anandpur Sahib? When they knew they were never going to come back. The last place they did Matha Tek was at Sisganj Sahib. And then they did Ardas there. They said to their sons, the Sahibzade, Matha Teko, this is where your father's Shahidi happened, where ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਸੰਸਕਾਰ ਕੀਤਾ. And then they said to their father, they said, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj said, Aap ji ne Shahidi ditti with so much courage, with so much bravery. You know what's going to happen to your Sahibzade, you know what's going to happen to your grandsons. Inna te bhi bakshish karo. And then the last place they did Matha Tek before they left Anandpur Sahib was here. And then they left the by Bakshish Singh in charge of lighting the jot every day, even after it got surrounded. And they left that place. We're going to finish it on Bhai Jeevan Singh Ji. So Bhai Jetta Ji then stay with Guru Sahib Ji. They do so much seva of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. Stay with them throughout all their life. Not all their life, but stay with them for a good couple of years. And then when the Amrit Sanchar takes place, that famous Amrit Sanchar, Vaisakhi 1699, Bhai Jetta Ji with the Sahibzade, they then take Amrit. I'm going to say they take Amrit again, because they would have taken Amrit like the other Gursikhs from Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj as well, like Bhai Kanhaiya Ji. You don't hear of them taking Amrit again because it wasn't necessary. Even the Sahibzade, they would have taken Charan Paul. But it was a lesson to be learnt and a lesson for us, I suppose. But Bhai Jetta Ji then got the name Bhai Jeevan Singh Ji. And look at the kirpa that happened with Bhai Jeevan Singh Ji. Because of their devotion, the prem, and it ultimately comes all down to that. Je kade bhi kuch karna hai, prem de naal karo, and then Maharaj will tenfold give you so much bakshishan. If you do Simran for 5 minutes with so much love compared to half an hour without just doing it, without any pyar, trust me that 10 minutes is worth more than that half an hour. But Maharaj prem, khed prem di hui, right? Jo to prem khilan ka chao. Maharaj go, whoever wants to play this game of love, aajo mere kol phir. Right? And then prem kiyo ten hi prapayo. That whoever does prem, ohi Prabhu nu paunda ya. Biras, courage and seva that Bhai Jetta Ji did, and they become Bhai Jeevan Singh Ji. So this is their life where it ends up, yeah? That after doing so much seva, and then they get put in charge of the army of the Khalsa army, they were one of the generals of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. And they used to train the Sahibzade, they trained the other Singhs in martial warfare. They could stand on running horses and shoot a gun. They could shoot 2 guns at the same time. They had all that skill, and the way they used to chala the kirpan, jo kirpan chalaunde sige, it was something to be, yeah, it was makes you in awe that wow, look at that. So as the jangs would take place, Baba Jeevan Singh Ji now started taking in jangs. They used to fight in the jangs with Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. And then there's 2 different sources here now. But for me, it doesn't really matter when 2 sources contradict one another. I don't dwell on that too much. For me, Shahidi is Shahidi. It don't matter where it took place, because it happened in the same way. One source will say that Baba Jeevan Singh Ji, when the Sangat left Anandpur Sahib and they got to the river Sirsa, utthe to hold the army, Mughal army and the Pahadi Raja off, by Jeta Ji, Baba Jeevan Singh Ji were given the duty. And they fought for 3 hours straight. For 3 hours straight, they didn't let the Mughals come near. And then at the end, they had to shoot Bhai Jeta Ji, Bhai Jeevan Singh Ji in the head, and a bullet came and hit them in the head. And that's when they became Shaheed. So Maharaj ne unna nu Shahidi, they gave them that darja, that status of a Shaheed, for the seva that they did. And then another source say that they were one of the Shaheeds at the Battle of Chamkaur with Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. Shahidi ta Shahidi, however they gave it. But then the other source is that they, in the Battle of Chamkaur, they gave Shahidi, and utthe they fought for 3 hours straight, not letting anyone come near them. Ultimately, it all comes back down to Simran and that Sharda, that pyar to have for your Guru. I'm just going to end on this, Sangat Ji, that oh Gursikh jede sige. So I know we've focused on Bhai Jeta Ji today, but all the Gursikh, Pratan Gursikhs, Simran ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੀਤਾ, ਬਾਣੀ ਪੜੀ, ਪਿਆਰ for Guru Sahib Ji, that Sharda for Guru Sahib Ji. They've taken the same Amrit as we have, as you can do. They do the same Simran as we can do. They do the same Bani as we can do. Ohi ya bilkul, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਕਤੀ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਮਿਲੀ, we can get that same strength if we have them qualities as well. So it comes down to this, ਕਿ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਕਰੋ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਅੱਗੇ, ਕਿ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ you know these Pratan Gursikhs that you hear of, ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਅਰਗੇ ਬਣਾਓ. Even if you give a tiny bit of what they were, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਜਨਮ ਸਫਲ ਹੋ ਜਾਊਗਾ. So Sangat Ji, we'll leave it there. If I made any mistakes, please forgive me. We'll move on to questions, but I suppose for the YouTube, we'll call it a day here for the YouTube. And if anyone's got any questions, then we can go through it. So this is for the YouTube. I'm going to say Fateh WhyGuru Ji Ka Khalsa, WhyGuru.